Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I gotta say, I was quite surprised that CDPR dropped a new expansion, the Merchants of Ofir. I was actually getting ready for, a few days ago, trying to reintroduce myself to Monster Hunter actually, and for the new Iceborne expansion that's going to be dropping for PC in early January. And so that was the next live stream that I intended to do, to try to catch up, because it's been almost a year since I've played Monster Hunter. I've forgotten every darn thing, so I was like, okay, let me catch up. And then I decided to play some Gwent, and then saw the update, did it, and then realized, oh, damn, there's an expansion. And I've seen several posts on Reddit about, what everyone's thoughts are on this expansion and the scenarios being introduced. Of course, my main concern is how it impacts Deathwish, because I'm a purely Deathwish user, and I don't know. I love the aesthetics. First off, let me just say that I love the aesthetics, the design of a lot of the cards that were added, but they've added scenarios to the game without fixing some of the balancing issues that already existed there, especially for the monster faction. I keep seeing arguments against it on Reddit, even when I create posts myself about Monster Wish is very much, the monster faction being very much still powerful, right? But the only part of the monster faction that is powerful is the swarm, and that it shouldn't be that this deck only has to rely on that one gimmick to actually win a duel. And I hate swarm. I hate it. It feels like a cop out instead of actually playing a duel against, I keep saying duel because of Yu-Gi-Oh, but playing a match against an opponent and outwitting them or them outwitting you. I hate swarm, so I don't use it. But I love CDPRs. It's, yes, you can criticize them and still love them. I still love the studio, but I still feel as though they're neglecting the monster faction just a bit. Now, I will say the addition of the scenarios, they definitely introduce a new layer of possibilities for the game, right? But again, the underlying issues with the monster faction haven't been addressed. They've added a few Deathwish units. The one that everyone seems to be losing their minds about is I believe the Noon Wraith. Let me find her. My challenge with that, Plague Maiden, first off, my challenge with Plague Maiden here, again, as I mentioned before, the guys with Swarm decks should be, over the moon, overjoyed with this edition, and some of the other editions as well, because it helps them. But aside from this using up almost all the spaces you have available on a single row, because I believe you're only allowed up to 9, I've been experimenting with it over the past few days, and using Noon Wraith instead of Plague Maiden, and I keep running out of space. I actually had to forfeit a match twice because I couldn't play anything else. So you kind of have to manage your rows carefully. And this, again, as I said, combining this with Glusty, if you're using a Glusty deck, then you're great. I don't think that's a viable strategy, not when you can easily, whether it's a Nilfgaardian deck or whatever, you can easily reset a unit or banish a unit. It's especially with Yennefer, you'll see a lot of that card being played now, moving the card from the field back to your deck or to your opponent's deck. So I don't like relying on a single unit to cap a duel unless it's like in the very last, the third round. And this isn't necessarily a third round card. But it's an interesting addition. No, as I mentioned before with Haunt and the scenarios, nice additions. The big issue, of course, is that they've nerfed Death Shadow, the leader ability, to prevent you from actually using it once every round, to now limit it to once for the entire match. Now, I've seen a lot of persons saying that they prefer that actually to this they prefer the change and having haunt. But again, listen, they essentially turned Death Shadow into Whispering Hillock. And Whispering Hillock already performed that function just fine. And you have that in addition to the leader ability because you needed it. Using a Deathwish deck, you actually need it because the Deathwish abilities suck. I'm not saying that, I had this discussion with someone on Reddit before, and he's like, you're not able to predict what a Deathwish unit is able to do. You don't give the other player time to react. And I'm like, are you serious? The moment you place that card on the field, you're telegraphing to your opponent what your next move is going to be, right? And if you've ever played against someone using a lock deck that just locks your leader ability from the beginning and has a ton of cards in his deck that just locks everything, then you will know that that argument is ridiculous. Because the moment you place a card, a Deathwish unit on the field, your opponent knows what's going to happen. That is nothing in comparison to having deploy abilities that you have no way to react to, right? So that argument is just not, it's just wrong. I don't know where it's, but that seems to be the argument that a lot of people are making, that okay, Deathwish was so powerful before it needed to be nerfed. How many Deathwish decks have you guys seen over the past few months? Very little, very little. Right, because they nerfed the hell out of it in the last major update, and now they've nerfed it again. And if they had changed Death Shadow to Spring Hillock and then given you a card that allows you to refresh the leader ability, similar to what is available in other factions, then I wouldn't mind as much. But there's no way to refresh the leader ability, so you have that one use only, which means you're forced to rely on haunt. I don't know if that was the CDPR's intention, to kind of force you to actually use haunt, but now that you're using haunt, you're running into a lot of roadblocks. Give it a few days, right? All the people who are rejoicing about, all the monster players rejoicing about haunt will find themselves in a position in a few days after the other players have adapted to it, because it's not that difficult to get rid of haunt. There are tons of cards that can remove the artifact from the field, destroy it, whatever the case might be, and it comes at very little cost to them. And most people already had Kamathi Heat Wave in their deck anyway, which makes this invalid. So it's tough, guys. It's tough. As I said, I'm grateful for the additional Deathwish editions. The problem with that is that most of them are just adding rat tokens to the field, which are not that useful unless again you're using a swarm deck. It's just not helpful. And the main thing that is missing from the monster faction is we do not have low provision units with useful abilities, right? All the units that actually have decent abilities are, 9, 10, 8 provision units that you can only have a single one in your deck. I pretty much had to change my entire deck because with Whispering Hillock gone, Whispering Hillock has now been basically reduced to, cheap Royal Decree, right? And not even as useful as Royal Decree, because at the very least with Royal Decree you can summon any monster. Whispering Hillock only allows you to summon a Deathwish monster, which makes it pretty much useless, because if you're on the second or third round, right, and you get a bad draw, you only have 2 or 3 cards, and you somehow happen to only draw Deathwish units, you have no way to activate them because you've already used up your leader ability. Whispering Hillock is useless. You're much better off having Royal Decree. At the very least, you can summon either a Deathwish unit or a Consume unit, whatever suits your need at that point in time. So the only good addition I can say is the Beast, again, in my experience so far, and we need more cards like this for the monster faction. Cards that aren't a double-edged sword, so it gives you an advantage but immediately takes it away by allowing your opponent to do something, summoning some other card or some other ridiculous thing. It feels as though every time they add a useful card to the monster deck, it benefits your opponent to some extent. And there are cards like that in the other factions, but they have the option of not using those cards and using something else. We don't. And it annoys me that they keep overlooking this major flaw. So I'm going to be going through the changes that I've made in my deck so far to kind of accommodate this new change, especially considering that there are a lot of poison decks out there. They seem to have adapted to. See here. See what this is one example of what I'm talking about. Moon Wraith, right? 6 power, 4 provision, decent, but spawns 2 rats in your opponent's row. That's giving your opponent 2 points, which in my mind just makes this a 4-point card. And I've seen some plays where persons, fill their opponent's row with cards to kind of force them to forfeit around that way. But that's just a gimmick. And how many times are you going to be able to actually pull that off? This only summons 2 rats, which means you're going to have to keep redoing this. It looks pretty for someone to post a picture on Reddit and say, hey, look, I've done this. Sure. But how many times are you actually going to win a duel by that? Not many. Right? Desert Banshee. And it just consumes and boosts by 1. So, as I said before, it's my main challenge with the Deathwish. It is. No, not Deathwish, with the monster faction. It limits. You're limited to just doing one linear action that your opponent will have seen a million times and can predict, right? On the other hand, in other factions, look at something like the Vivaldi Bank card, where your opponent may be able to predict that you will play that card. You have no option. You have no opportunity to destroy Vivaldi Bank. So all you can do is sit back and wait for your opponent to decide how they're going to massacre you for that round, right? But with Vivaldi Bank, it gives them the option of doing numerous plays depending on what card they actually see, and then it boosts. It gives them more coins for using the card itself, and then they get more coins for playing the actual card. So there are a lot of combos that they can actually do, but with the monster deck, you don't have a lot of combos. It's just Thrive that you have to rely on. That's it, and your opponent knows Thrive is there, so they'll either lock the card, poison it, whatever the case might be. Same thing for Deathwish. It's just a very linear structure way of playing, and I don't think that's the only way you could. There's no way that they can not come up with some other ability for Deathwish that gives you more maneuverability rather than just relying on the same old linear play that can easily be predicted or locked or blocked or whatever the case might be. I for good measure, and this is something that just keeps kind of pissing me off with the changes that they keep making. Where is it? Right, and that's Foglet. Right, I keep expecting them to fix this with every update, and they still haven't fixed it. Because essentially, Foglet is one of the few that has something outside of the norm, where it's not reliant on Thrive. What it does is to summon a copy of the unit from your deck. But they have limited you to only have 2 Foglets. You can't create more than 2 copies of Foglet, right? But yet still, I've seen other cards in other factions that allow them to summon 3. No, actually it's not limited to 3. It allows them to summon all the copies of this card from their deck. Even with this new update that they did, I've seen some Black Crow summons that allows them to summon every copy from their deck or their graveyard if they have a particular card in their hand. Now that's a combo. I hate it because it means I'm losing, but that's a decent combo to have. It would be nice to have something similar to something that's more mechanical and forces you to think about how to use that strategy. It's not just one linear, let me just put this here so that Thrive can be activated, that my opponent is going to expect and they can easily counter. So they've missed an opportunity. They keep missing the opportunity to update it, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So of course I had to change my deck because I would have been slaughtered keeping it as is. I'm forced to include Haunt. By definition, I have to use Caretaker as well, because using Haunt yeah, it's been a few days since the update, and everyone who now is able to counter Haunt and just destroy it the moment you play it on the field. So I have to add Caretaker. I have to add Avalak because drawing Haunt is ridiculously it's difficult. I don't know why. I've never had good luck with draws, so I keep not drawing Haunt, and that forces me to rely on my one leader ability, which doesn't amount to much, right? You only activate it once now, so if I don't draw Haunt in the first or second round, I have to just forfeit. So I had to add Avalak. I could have used that for a high power unit, but if the focus is going to be on Deathwish, then I need units to consume, because there's now no other way for me to activate the Deathwish ability. So in addition to Avalak, I have to add Royal Decree, because even with Avalak and Haunt, I still can't draw either of those two cards. I've had plays where the first round I didn't draw either of them. The second round I still wasn't able to draw either of them. I had to use the leader ability for the first round, but after that, then what? And I had to rely on drawing the right consume units. It's a mess. It's a mess. I'm sorry. I love the aesthetic of the expansion, the design of the new cars. I love the look. I love the music, the background imagery as well. But they've not fixed a lot of the underlying issues, and that needs to be fixed for this faction. Maybe now is a good time to give up on the Monster and Deathwish faction and move to something else. I could, but I just do not enjoy the other factions very much. I don't. And then there's the stratagems, right? A nice addition. I wouldn't say absolutely necessary. It's not beneficial, depending on what your deck is, what deck it is you're using, right? For the most part, especially for the neutral ones, you don't accomplish anything that you couldn't already do. For most factions, again, that you couldn't already do with a card that places another unit on the board. But again, this is free at the start of the match, so hey, why not, right? Until I came across the one specific for Deathwish for the monsters, and this is to trigger a bronze allied unit's Deathwish ability, which is just garbage. It's garbage. I'm sorry, but it's garbage. If it said trigger the bronze trigger a Deathwish unit's ability, that would be fine. But if you check the number of bronze Deathwish units, they're not very useful. And the only thing again would just be the Night Noon Wraith, that it just goes back to Glusty again and Swarm decks, and that's the only benefit here. And you see my frustration. So for the most part, I didn't even bother crafting it, because it would serve no purpose for me, because all the units that I do have that are bronze, the benefit of using this versus just keeping this to boost a unit by 5, this is more useful, right? Because at the first turn, your opponent will just, if you place a Deathwish unit on the field on the first turn, your opponent is just going to destroy it before they place a unit on the field, so the effects become null and void. It's just a complete mess. I don't think any thought is being put into the monster faction anymore. I don't know if they've given up on it, but I'm not loving it. So I've chosen to keep this because it's more useful, because it allows me to keep a unit on the board longer if the opponent has some organic card or special card to destroy the unit, which I may want to, because if it's my first turn, I want that card. If it's my first turn and it's a Deathwish unit, I need it to remain on the field. My concern isn't going to be about activating its Deathwish, because chances are my opponent will try to destroy it or lock it in the first turn. I can't figure out how they wouldn't think about that. So I skipped that, and I was forced to add these 4 cards just to make this card viable, and I'm not sure by how much, right? Considering what I had to remove to put them in. But hey, let's give it a shot. over the past few days, I've tried my hand at it, not gotten the best results, not the worst, but I would have much preferred if we kept our leader ability. Introduce this, fine, but keep the leader ability to refresh each round. There's no scenario where this is the better strategy. There just isn't. Not when there are so many lock units available out there and poison units that they've now introduced. It's sloppy. Find me a worthy opponent. Alright. Let's go. Thank God. I'm going first.
Must be secure.
I kind of have to rely on that now. I need to go first, otherwise I am royally screwed. Alright, I no longer need you. Let's go. Boost an allied unit by 1, cooldown 2. Alright. I had to keep caretaker just in case, you know, it gets destroyed, because that's what I found happens.
Try them!
To go with current there. Play a copy of Imperial Manticore. Use my leader ability. Destroy that. Play Imperial Manticore. Let's see how this works out. The one thing I mean, what they have accomplished at the very least with Haunt, or with the scenarios in general, I'm gonna pass, is you're definitely gonna see people with a lot more units on the board, a lot more points by the end of each duel. Yeah, he decided to keep playing.
Left, right.
Is it really worth? Even still.
Let's get this over with.
Ah, good move. It's a dangerous card. I guess it's a good thing I did pass. I forced to use that early on. I'm not quite sure that was worth using that many cards from your hand though. But hey, who knows? Once you use your leader ability, you still have to play a card. Hey, who knows? Could have some badass cards in his hand to just kick my ass. Nothing is outside the realm of possibilities at this point. You never know. Your turn, bub. Pass or keep playing? Decide. What's it going to be? One to pass. Alright, so gonna boil on to the final round. We really ought to fix this drawing thing. Your opponent shouldn't still be able to draw as many cards by the end of the duel. No. Alright, final round, let's go. Need to use up Predator dive here. I could wait until I have a rat on the field, but as I destroy whatever he plays, assuming... Yeah.
This'll be quick and painful.
Best to remove that one from the field. I thought as much. And hopefully I can take control of the next one with Maruna. I guess not.
With pleasure.
Never an eye unit gains charge boost. My one phrase charge gained. Dangerous card. You know, one of the other things that pisses me off about the change is Death Shadow's ability only allows him to destroy allied monster units. So I've been trying to replay Aguara several times, but it doesn't work on beasts, which is just silly. Alright? It's silly.
Be gone. Leave us.
Damn it, all units on this route by 2. I guess there's no point in doing that now.
The moon, oh, brighter shines.
Might as well get it over with. Probably should have just gotten Kieran on the field and let him do that. It doesn't have any 4 units in his hand. All the units that he's played so far have been
This dance
5 or higher.
you will never forget.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Famous last words right there.
So play an extra card. Let's see if I'm lucky.
Again and again and again.
Ah, damn it, he boosted that one. Let's eat some rats and get some points. What are the odds Marina can get me that
Nasty
one?
wounds, those.
Oh,
But you'll live.
he might have just helped. If only he had kept one of them. Damn it, it would have been so nice.
Such a shame. I must kill you.
I have no way of boosting her and it doesn't increase. Damn it. That one would have been nice. You don't want to hit that one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one has 5 in it.
Darling. Silence.
I think the limit is 9, right? I think so. Let's hope I'm right. Why is he still so focused on that one? Is this run? Weird choice. Come on. Damn it. Not the right one, but hey. Oh, damn it. Why did it place it in that room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I keep having to check.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Nice. Alright, I needed the space. Alright. We got one. I've been stuck. I've been stuck at rank 10 for such a. I actually got down to rank 8, and as soon as this update came out, it just shot me up to rank 11. I guess because I didn't participate in any of the seasonal events. So, which I've been ignoring. Season of the Wild is very interesting. It's very interesting, right? I've gone in a few times and I've won a few times, but if you go in and you end up with a deck that basically boosts, a booster deck. I don't know what the archetype is, what do they call it, but you're basically screwed. So I would need to create a deck specifically for this, for the seasonal events, and I probably should have done that a long time ago, but I've just kept using the same deck across the board. But if you're up against a deck that boosts every unit on the field or boosts other units on the field, and they get to play 2 of those cards every time they play, just forfeit. There's no way to win, right? There's just no way to win that. There is some advantage for Deathwish units if you're not against that particular deck. There is some advantage there, but it's risky. It's risky. Depends on who the opponent is. I can know whether or not I'm going to win just by seeing who the opponent is for this specifically, because yeah, don't bother, right? Depending on who the opponent is, don't waste your time.
Any last words?
A fellow monster. I would have loved to have gone first with this. It's not great. But it does make for some interesting duels. God damn it. These cards have no use in a duel like this. They really don't. So he's using that shadow and he gets to go first. Just might be a nightmare. Not even maybe. It is a nightmare.
It's time. Appearances can be deceiving.
So I probably should have used that for Maruna instead. Probably should have. Because with 3 Thrive units on the field and I don't have any, that was a bad play on my part, I think. Not I think, I know it was a bad move on my part. Yeah, I might just forfeit this round. It was a terrible move there. Terrible move. I could try to force him to use up his hand, but with these, he's basically getting 3 extra points every turn. I would then need this card. So let's get him out there to kind of counter things. So the beast will kind of counter and Gregor Larva. Doesn't give me as many points, of course, but it's something.
I shall never be alone again.
Alright. I'm gonna use this. So that I now have 3. 3 earning 2 additional points. Because they're out of sync. Well, these 2 seems to be in sync, but it gives me some hope. I definitely messed up the first turn, but these 2 cards are useless in this situation. Damn it. I just used up my row. Yeah, I just used up the row. I need to get Kikimora Warrior on there. Oh, pulled out Blessing. Nice. Not bad. Not bad at all. It would be good if I had some. If I had Werecat. Werecat would have been so useful here. I didn't draw it. I can only destroy 1. Only get 1. I have more units, so I take more damage. Try to chip some off his, shall we? We're still in the race, buddy. But he still hasn't used his monster, his leader ability yet. It's dangerous. So it does make for some. It does make for a fun duel. It does. Got the mighty Deathwish, so he has a consume unit in. I wonder if I can bluff my way. No, I can't do it. Yeah, I'll get 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. That's just 6. That just brings me up to 73. I will fall short. If I use this, it's just gonna destroy that life and bring it back. There's no benefit for me there. Yep. Oh damn it! See, I ran out of space, mate. I ran out of space, and I need to use it on these two. God damn it! Yeah. We ran out of space. I could have used it on Night Wraith to consume both of them and get some points, but yeah, that's the danger of relying on Night Wraith and the scenario a bit too much. Yeah, we finally drew Maruna. Oh, nice. Not sure this is useful. It's 7 points, you know. Werecat, definitely useful. Let's go. Brought out Imlerith. You dog. Let's see if I can get me an Imlerith. Or I could just destroy one. I guess that makes more sense. Gives me a higher chance of actually getting it. Oh. Well, neither of them benefits me at this point. Keep Imlerith on the field. Nah. I need Maruna to work some miracle here, or I guess I just use a Guara on it. You know, makes more sense. How many 7-point units do you have in your deck? Ah. Ooh, nice. Who's more of a threat here? Needed Maruna to go on and give me something. Damn it. But I didn't want to risk keeping that on the field. Probably should have waited though. Yeah. I screwed up there. Now it's gonna be left to a gamble. I think he can use his ability on it and summon 2 more. Might actually do me a favor if he does. Come on, do it. Could get me a beast if you use it. Oh, use it. Oh, damn it. Not the one I was hoping you'd use it on. Oh, there's nobody there. What? Damn it. Why did I just waste that? I'm screwing up at every turn here. Gotta be kidding me. I could have... why didn't I use Imperial Manticore? I'm screwing up at every turn. That's on me. That might have just cost us this duel. Listen, if you hear me say duel, it's because of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, round. This is the final match, right? Yeah. Ooh.
Not your lucky day.
Man. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. Anticore doesn't do me much good because yeah. Damn it. I put a space between those two. What will get me the most points? Destroying that one and getting 2 points. Getting 1 or 2 and doing 3 points of damage. It's not a whole lot. Gamble. Gamble time. Woo! Yes! Narrow victory. Now round 3. I always draw shit cards at the end here. Always draw horrible cards. I need a Deathwish unit. Do I have any left? This doesn't do me any good because odds are he's gonna play a Deathwish unit. Damn it. Horrible. Horrible.
I shall never be alone again.
You'll need a consume unit to win this. Oh, or that. It's not looking great. Ah. There you are. Still get some points from it though. Ah, he has 2 of them now. Damn it. Forgot this isn't a regular match. And I guess to consume 1. But Hail Mary! Hail Mary! Damn it! Oh, some luck. Alright, alright, alright. You never know what to expect going into those. It's the most fun I've had with a seasonal event in a while. It is. But again, it depends on who the opponent is because, as I said, I've over the past few days, I kept going up against this one deck that just boosts every unit he has on the field, and having 2 copies of those on the row of every of those units on the row, you're just doomed from the beginning. So I'm like, if I go on seasonal deals and I come across this deck, just forfeit. Don't even bother. It's pointless. Let me go first. Alright, we're going last. 2. Going last, you're not a great idea. Oh. Another Deathwish. Okay. It's not great going up against these guys and not going first. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna have to use my leader ability in order to win this. He's going to lock that unit using the Urn of Shadows. I'm gonna have to pull some miracle using Maruna here and Caranthir. So it's a good strategy that has worked for me sometimes. Spawning a copy of another Deathwish unit using Caranthir, then using my leader ability to destroy it and then resummon it. I hate that I have to use it in that way, but not a lot of choice. Ah. Please let him take the bottom one. Let him take the bottom one. Oh, god damn it. Come on, come on.
Such a shame. I must kill you.
How much do you want to bet I do not have the same luck? How much do you want to bet? Give me Maruna. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I shall savor your
I'll take it. Alright. Now you're going to use the Urn of Shadows? Well, we both used our leader ability, so odds are the winner of this round takes the match, pretty much. Alright, if he does lock Maruna, I have Aguara with me. You can unlock it. Never far. Why play that so early? It's interesting. If he played that card, that means he doesn't have any units to consume in his hand, right? At least that's my guess, right?
Be gone. Leave us.
I'll take my chances. I'm sure he'll pass here. Probably should have used the Urn of Shadows a bit earlier, though. Why did he have it just sitting there? You only get one chance to use it, man. Oh yeah, he does have this, doesn't he? Testy, testy, testy.
I shall never be alone again.
Rat time. You know, why doesn't these rats have any animations? You know, considering that this Night Wraith does. It'd be cool to see them racing when you hover over the card. Look, you can either pass now or dwindle down your entire deck to the last card, because that's the only way you're going to be catching up. Alright. Smart choice. It took too long to use his stratagem. If you did use it earlier on, you could have had me. Alright. Managed to draw a caretaker, so... Natural selection might come in handy. So, just gonna go with the current hand. doesn't have his leader ability to activate, to disable it unless he has a card in his hand to do it. Play Imperial Mantic. No, that wouldn't help me right now. What is? No. Not a great idea, actually. Let's see. I hate Ancient Foglet, but when you first summon Bar Guest, it's a bit annoying because it forces you to consume the Deathwish unit that you just summoned, which I hate doing initially because I may want to use it later on. So, for that purpose, Foglet is actually okay. Might have been a better idea to go with Beast first. Kind of rack points up, but he doesn't have anything on the field as yet, so. No, he must have another. Okay. Forfeited. Alright. Today seems to be my lucky day. Since I only seem to be going up against other monster factions. Let's see if we can make it 3 for 3. Not that lucky, so it's not likely, but I seem to be on a roll today. Alright. Don't be my worst nightmare. Please don't be my worst nightmare. No, it's another monster. This bug keeps happening. It's happened like twice now, where you just start to do it and it just automatically ends. Not sure what the cause is. Well, there is a card that I was thinking about adding.
The gate must.
So I'll talk
be
about it a bit
secure.
after this. Ooh, we got to go first. Yeah. Only one. But we have Ogre with us. In Ogre we trust. And if he manages to destroy Haunt, then I am screwed. Move an allied Nifgard unit to your hand and boost it by 2, then play a card. Okay. So we're safe for the moment.
The moon, how bright it shines.
Oh, shoot. Let's hope his luck is more terrible than mine. Alright, he's trying to destroy the Haunt. Please have terrible luck. Please have terrible luck. Please have terrible luck. Please have terrible luck. Because we're random into the opposite row. Okay. It's not a complete disaster. Alright? Let's get him. Still a dangerous ability, but I'm trying not to use Maruna since, you know, this didn't go according to how he expected it to. Ah. Good old Geralt. Imperial Manticore is best played at the very start of the duel, so it's kind of useless now since we just destroy Shoop. Yeah, I might not have any choice but to use Marina or my leader ability, which I was hoping to save, but this guy seems to be persistent, you know. Insists on winning I wouldn't put it past him to have another Geralt, so I probably should have watched Vargas for a bit.
The child, return her to me.
Why did I even bother doing that? This only works if he has the highest, yeah, which he no longer does. That was kind of a waste. But
My prescription
it's advantageous.
is bloodletting.
It's a bit advantageous to force him to use up the cards in his hand. The rest I would prefer to keep. I'm going to pass here. I suspect he'll pass, but if not, hey. He'll be one card down. Not exactly enough. Interesting that he decided to do that, because I mean, you're gonna have to use up 2 cards. So he's gonna pass the second round or keep pushing. Very persistent guy, you gotta say, or girl, whatever the case might be. Alright, we got Caretaker. So let's go with this. I should have drawn something else, shouldn't I? I need another consume unit. I hate relying on the artifacts solely. Ah, okay, great. Alright, since I'm going first, this no longer helps me. I hate you. Alright, Caretaker, let's go. I don't want him to know Maruna is coming. I don't want him to know that Maruna is coming. Still holding tight to that leader ability. I guess to save it till the end. You must be saving it for some card that has a very good deploy ability, so you can activate it twice.
Target acquired.
A cold night descends.
I hate having that and the Endrega eggs, since they kind of do the same thing, or they amount to the same amount of points, but I don't want to fill the field up.
Never best kept on a short lead.
Ah,
Come on, stalkers! We ride!
that's what I was waiting for.
I shall savor your death.
Thank you for participating. Alright, I need to make use of Imperial Manticore as quickly as possible, but I no longer have any more consume units on the field. It's not great.
Beast or man makes no difference to me.
Ah, there you are. Knew I was saving this for something. Suppose I. It's risky. I still have Maruna, but I just destroy it. Don't have any way to. Yeah. Why risk it? Why risk it? Let's see if Alzur is thunder for. I'm sure he has something else up his sleeve that we can use that for. Why not use it on Kieran?
Sometimes I've had about enough.
I mean, I think I've used up Barghest already. Maybe he didn't notice.
Such a shame. I must kill you.
Oh. I think there's only one card left. This must be some really magical card. Ah, the old Geralt.
Damn it.
All right. Finally made it to rank 9 after 3 days. Alright, that's pretty much the the strategy and the layout for the new deck. I suspect I'll be back with this a bit once the Witcher series actually starts, and I'll be reviewing that on YouTube as well. But it'd be a good balance to go in back and forth between this and the series as well, and hopefully they actually incorporate Gwent into the game itself. There is a card that, you know, I'm trying to figure out how the best way to actually get it in my deck, because I absolutely love the design of it. I think the design is fantastic, but it just doesn't, it's just not very organic with my deck. You know what I mean? Where are you? Yeah. So Penitent, right? I love the design. It reminds me of, you know, I love the design. I love the design. It reminds me of this creature from Silent Hill. You know, the one with the giant knife, right? So I absolutely love the design. It's one of the new additions that I can say I'm, you know, it's actually a good addition, right? As I said, the others just adding rats and stuff, it's not great. It's useful, but it makes your deck very monotone and very linear and predictable. This is a bit interesting because it Thrive and then Deathwish on top of it. I do wish they would introduce some other ability for the, you know, monsters rather than just Thrive and Deathwish, but hey, that's where we are now. So the problem with it though, having it in my deck means I can only summon Werecat, Imperial Manticore, or Beast. Now more often than not, what I would want it to summon is actually Beast, because to get it on the field, it pretty much does the work, does all the work on its own. The problem is, because there are 3 options and it's completely random, I don't know why they've made it random. I know it wouldn't be overpowered if they gave you the option, because I've seen people make that option. I've seen other decks with that ability, right? So because it's random, I either get Werecat, and if I do get Werecat, it doesn't count as an actual summon, right? It's spawn, or well, it's summoning it from the deck, but it doesn't count as an actual deploy. So Werecat's deploy ability doesn't get activated. So that's one loss right there, because he damages all enemies on a row by 1, right? That's a lot of points you could gain if you played him on your own and activated the deploy ability. So I mean, with Penitent, it doesn't work well with Werecat, because that's one that I've lost. That's points that you've automatically lost right there. And I don't. It's Imperial Manticore is all about timing, right? So you don't lose anything by summoning it to the field that way, but at the same time, you don't want to summon it at a point where your opponent has like a unit with one power on the field, right? Imperial Manticore is all about timing, and it's best used at the start of the duel when your opponent plays something to kind of keep their side of the field clear. So in the middle of a duel, you don't want Penitent just summoning Imperial Manticore when you're not ready, or you don't have a consume unit, or you don't have a way to activate it. So I had it in the deck initially, and then I tried playing it, and then I'm like, it's better to just have, you know, the ability to play Beast on my own, or Werecat on my own, than just summoning them randomly, because I don't know what I'm going to get, and that doesn't help me in a battle where I need to know, you know, how am I going to pull this duel off. It just felt out of place. But I absolutely love the design of Penitent. It would be the mascot of my deck if I could. It would. Who knows? At the moment, Maruna is still that mascot, because she saves my ass more times than I can count. Saves my ass more times than I can count. Penitent, it's not there yet. Not there. It'd be sweet if they actually, well, maybe not. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, the Merchants of Ofir, the expansion pack, as I've said, I love some things about it, other things I don't. I still think the addition of the stratagems and the scenarios, they're a nice touch, it's a nice addition. But I don't think you should add that without first addressing some of the imbalances that take place in other areas of the game. So that's pretty much where I'm at, right? I'm still satisfied overall. I love the aesthetics, I love the design, I love certain of these cards. Penitent, as I said, absolutely love the card. Reminds me of the creature from Silent Hill. I absolutely love it. I just wish that they would give monster, create some more monster units with some unique abilities. They keep adding cards, even with this update and previous update. They keep adding cards with these unique abilities to other factions, but not so much this one. It keeps being limited to just Thrive and just Deathwish. I mean, monsters are capable of doing other things without having the double-edged sword added to it. So yeah, I'm saying I'm about satisfied with it, but I do think that there is still a lot of work to be done where the monster faction is concerned, and hopefully in the future they'll keep that in mind. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to post down below. Let me know what your thoughts. And I'll catch you guys this time next week.